I stared at the text message for the 10th time. My fingers were numb. Your daughter can't return until you apologize, it said. Apologize. Apologize for what? For finding out my husband was a thief. For refusing to be the quiet, broken wife his family wanted me to be. My coffee was cold, but I was shaking so hard the cup rattled against the table. They had my daughter. They had my Lily. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, I heard a loud banging. It wasn't at my apartment door. It was on my apartment door. I ran to look and my heart stopped. A man in a blue uniform was changing the lock. My name is Ruby Dash. I'm 32 and my life is a mess. Just 6 months ago I had it all. A nice suburban house, a handsome husband named Mark, and the brightest 10-year-old daughter in the world, Lily. I was a part-time baker. He was a rising star at his family's company. But then I found the bank statements. I saw the money moving to secret accounts. He wasn't just cheating on me. He was stealing from his own father's retirement fund. When I told his family, they didn't believe me. They called me the liar. They called me the gold digger. They chose him. And now I am standing here watching my life fall apart. My story is painful. It's about betrayal. But I promise you, if you stay with me, the ending will change everything. Please, if you have ever felt small or pushed aside or hurt by people you loved, please subscribe to my channel. I am asking you from the bottom of my broken heart, let me know you are here. I need to know I'm not alone. Your support is the only thing holding me together right now. The man finished with the lock. He stuck a bright orange paper on the wood. Evicted, it said in big black letters. Ran out. You can't do this, he yelled. I paid my rent. The man wouldn't look at me. He just pointed to the paper. New owner, ma'am. Building was sold. You've got 1 hour to get your things. My blood ran cold. The building wasn't for sale. I looked at the legal paper. The new owner. It was a company name. Company I knew. It was my ex-husband's company. They didn't just take my daughter. They took my home. I have to ask you. Where are you watching this from? Are you in a warm home? Are you in Texas or New York or maybe another country? Please tell me in the comments. Knowing that someone somewhere is listening to my story, it gives me a tiny spark of hope in all this darkness. And I pray truly that you and your family are safe. I pray that you are blessed with loyalty and love, and that you never ever feel the kind of cold I feel right now. You deserve that. Called the police. I told them my daughter was being held by my ex-husband's family. I told them Aunt Clara and Uncle David sent me the text. The officer sounded tired. Ma'am, we visited the house. Your daughter Lily seems fine. She's playing in the pool. Your uncle showed us court papers from your divorce. Says you are emotionally unstable. He said they are worried about you. Is that true, ma'am? Did you threaten your husband? My voice broke. No. He's lying. They are all lying. The officer sighed. Ma'am, this is a family matter. We can't take her if she's safe. I hung up and I screamed. They had planned this. They used my tears and my anger during the divorce and painted me as crazy. They tricked me. I had nowhere to go. My car was almost out of gas. I had $24 in my bank account. They had $1. They knew I was broke. They knew I had no power. They thought I would come crawling back. They thought I would sign the papers, apologize for his crimes, and give up my daughter just to have a roof over my head. They thought I was beaten. I sat on the curb, my head in my hands. My phone buzzed. It was a number I didn't recognize. A New York area code. I answered, ready to cry. Hello. A woman's voice cut through the air. It was sharp, clear, and did not sound friendly. Is this Ruby Dash? She asked. Yes, I whispered. This is Seraphina. Your father's wife. I've never met you. Your father. He worries about you. He told me you might be in some trouble. I just landed my jet. Tell me where you are. My dad. He and I hadn't talked much since my mom died and he remarried so fast. He married this Seraphina. A woman my Aunt Clara always called That New York shark. My ex-husband's family laughed about her. They said she was just another rich woman collecting a sad, older husband. I never knew what to think. I sent Seraphina my location, the parking lot of my locked apartment. 10 minutes later, a long, shiny black car that looked like it belonged to a president pulled up to the curb. The back window slid down. She was beautiful, not in a soft movie star way. She was sharp. She wore dark sunglasses and a red suit that probably cost more than my car. She looked me up and down. I was a mess. Old sweatpants, tear stains on my shirt. Felt like a stray dog. "Get in the car, Ruby," she said. It wasn't a request. It was a command. Got in. The car smelled like new leather and money. I started to cry and told her everything. About Mark, a theft, text, my apartment, my Lily. She listened. She just stared straight ahead as the driver pulled away. When I was done, she was quiet for a full minute. I thought she was going to tell me I was stupid. I thought she was going to drive me to a homeless shelter. Instead, she picked up her phone. "Change of plans," she said to the driver. "Take us to the Carrington Grand Hotel. The presidential suite." She hung up and finally turned to me, her eyes hidden behind those dark glasses. "First, you are going to take a shower. Then, you are going to eat. Then, my lawyer is meeting us. Your family wants an apology, Ruby." "Oh, we're going to give them one." "But, my daughter," I stammered. "They won't give her back." Seraphina smiled. It was the first time and it was terrifying. "Yes, they will. We're going to get your daughter. And when we're done, that uncle of yours, he's going to be begging you for a job. And if you want to see me walk into that house, you have to see what happens next. Please, I am begging you, subscribe to my channel. You won't believe what Seraphina has in her briefcase." The Carrington Grand Hotel wasn't just a building. It was a castle made of glass and gold. The lobby was as big as a football field. People in fancy clothes walked by, not even looking at me in my tear-stained sweatpants. I felt like a piece of trash that had blown in the wind. Seraphina didn't seem to notice them at all. She just walked straight to the front desk, and a man in a suit immediately bowed. "Mrs. Sterling, your suite is ready. We have the items you requested." He didn't even ask for her name. They already knew her. We went up in a private elevator that moved so fast my ears popped. She used a special key card, and we walked into a room that was bigger than my entire apartment building. There were huge windows looking down on the whole city. "The shower is in there," Seraphina said, pointing to a giant marble bathroom. "Take a long one. Food is coming. My lawyer will be here in 20 minutes. I just nodded, too scared to speak. I felt like Alice in a very strange, very rich, and very scary wonderland. What was happening? I locked the bathroom door, turned on the hot water, and just slid to the floor. The tears finally came. I wasn't just crying, I was sobbing. I was crying for my daughter, Lily. Was she scared? Did she think I had left her? I pictured her little face, waiting for me by the window. That's what Aunt Clara wanted. She wanted me to feel this. She wanted me to break so I would crawl back and apologize to Mark. I hit the wall, my hand aching. "I will not break," I whispered to the steam. "Lily, Mommy is coming. I promise." I got out and found new clothes laid out on the giant bed. They weren't my style. They were expensive. A dark blue silk shirt, black pants, and smart, serious-looking shoes. There was even new underwear. Seraphina had thought of everything. I put them on and felt different. I felt like I was wearing a costume, like I was dressing up as a strong person. I heard a knock on the main door. I walked out, my heart pounding. A tall man in a dark gray suit was there. He had cold blue eyes and held a very expensive-looking briefcase. He wasn't Seraphina's. It was his briefcase. "Ruby Dash, this is Arthur Thorne. He is my personal lawyer," Seraphina said. She was drinking sparkling water from a tall glass. "Arthur, this is the girl I told you about. Her husband's family are small-town thieves. They have her child." Mr. Thorne didn't smile. He just looked at me. Mrs. Sterling says you have a text message. May I see it? Gave him my phone. He read the text from Aunt Clara. Your daughter can't return until you apologize. He read it, and his face didn't change at all. This is kidnapping, he said, like he was talking about the weather. He clicked open his briefcase. I thought I'd see stacks of money or maybe legal pads. But I was wrong. The case was lined with black foam. Inside were 10 identical black USB hard drives. They were all labeled with codes I didn't understand. And in the middle there was one other thing. It was an old, faded photograph. A picture of a man I didn't know, standing in front of an old factory. What is all that? I asked, pointing to the drives. Seraphina finally looked at me. Your father, Ruby. He's a good man. But he is too soft. He thinks his old family, your mother's family, are just country folk. They are not. This, Seraphina said, tapping one of the drives, is everything. Mr. Thorne pulled one out. Your ex-husband Mark wasn't just stealing his father's retirement. He was stealing from the whole town. Your Uncle David helped him. They've been doing it for 20 years. They've been using a fake company to buy up properties like your apartment building, after they crash their value. They stole pension money, Ruby. I was dizzy. But the police said. Mr. Thorne cut me off. The police are friends with your uncle. They play golf together. They are useless. My mind flashed back. I remembered Christmas just 2 years ago. I was in the kitchen with Aunt Clara. She was telling me how to be a good wife. She said, Mark is a special boy, Ruby. He holds this whole family together. You are lucky he chose you. You are nothing without him. Don't you ever forget that. Don't you ever make him unhappy. I thought she was just being mean. I didn't realize she was protecting a criminal. I didn't realize she was threatening me. She knew. She knew all along what they were doing. So what do we do? I asked, my voice shaking. We go to the FBI. Seraphina laughed. It was a cold, sharp sound. No, the FBI is too slow. We don't need the FBI to get your daughter back. She stood up and put on her sunglasses, even though we were inside. We are going to make a phone call. And then we are going to pay them a visit. She handed me my phone. Call your Aunt Clara. Put it on speaker. Now. My hand was trembling. I was so scared. I didn't want to talk to her. What do I say? Seraphina took the phone from my shaking hand. You don't say anything. I will. She found the number and pressed call. It rang twice. A voice I hated answered, sounding so sweet. Ruby, darling. Are you finally ready to apologize to Mark? Lily misses you, but she understands you need to be sorry. Seraphina's voice dropped, and it was pure ice. This is not Ruby. This is Seraphina Sterling. You have 1 hour to bring Lily, unharmed, to the lobby of the Carrington Grand Hotel. If you are not there, I will be calling the SEC, the IRS, and the real owners of the pension fund your husband stole. There was silence. Then Aunt Clara's voice, not so sweet anymore. I don't know who you are. You can't threaten me. Seraphina smiled. It's not a threat. It's a schedule. She hung up. She turned to me. She won't bring her. Felt sick. So what now? Now, Seraphina said, grabbing her purse. We go to them. Arthur, is the car ready? Where are we going? I asked, following them out the door. To her house. No, Seraphina said, as the elevator doors opened. We're going somewhere better. Your ex-husband's family is being given the Family Business of the Year award at the country club tonight. We're going to the party. The black car moved through the streets like a silent shark. It was so quiet inside. All I could hear was my own heart, beating like a drum. Thump, thump, thump. I sat in the back, next to Seraphina. She was looking at her phone, her face like stone. Mr. Thorne, the lawyer, was in the front passenger seat. No one was talking. It made me even more scared. We weren't going to a house to get Lily. We were going to a party. How do you get a little girl back from a party full of rich people who hate you? I wanted to ask, what is the plan? But I was too afraid to make a sound. I looked at this woman, my stepmother. I had met her only once, at her wedding to my dad. She shook my hand and smiled, but her eyes were cold. My dad. He seemed so happy with her. He said she was brilliant. My Aunt Clara always said she was a monster who only loves money. Right now, I didn't care what she was. She was the only person who believed me. But why? Was she doing this for my dad? Or did she just enjoy a good fight? You're shaking, she said, not looking up from her phone. Stop it. Fear is useless. It's a wasted feeling. My mind went back to the briefcase, the 10 black USB drives, and that one strange, faded photo. The man in front of the old factory. Seraphina, I whispered, my voice small. The picture in Mr. Thorne's case. The man. Who was he? Mr. Thorne looked at me in the rearview mirror. Seraphina put her phone down. That man, she said, her voice a little softer, was my father. That factory was his company. It was his life's work. He built it from nothing. He was a good man. Too good. Too trusting. She turned to look at me. Her dark sunglasses were off now. Her eyes were sharp, but I saw something deep inside them. Saw pain. A man just like your Uncle David came along, she said. He promised my father the world. He said he would partner with him and save the company. Instead, he stole the pension fund. He bankrupted my father. He took everything. My father. He died 2 years later. Broken man. His heart just gave out. He had nothing left to live for. Finally understood. This wasn't just for me. This was personal. I was 22 when that happened, Seraphina continued, her voice like ice. I spent the next 10 years of my life destroying that man. I took his company. I took his house. I took everything he ever loved. And I left him with nothing. Just like he left my father. He paused. Your family, Ruby. They are the same kind of people. They are cockroaches. They hide in the dark and steal from good, trusting men like your father-in-law, and like my dad. And they count on people like you being too scared and too broke to ever fight back. The car slowed. We pulled up to a long looping driveway. The Oak Valley Country Club. I'd only been here once for Mark's birthday. I wasn't allowed to be a member, of course. Aunt Clara said I wasn't the right kind of person. It was beautiful, with giant white pillars and perfectly green grass. Men in red vests were parking fancy cars. I could hear music and laughter coming from inside. Made me sick. They were in there, drinking champagne and getting an award, while they had my daughter locked away somewhere. Mr. Thorne, Seraphina said. The car stopped, but we didn't get out. Give her the earpiece. And the phone. Mr. Thorne turned around. He handed me a tiny skin-colored thing for my ear. It's a direct line to me, he said in his flat voice. I will not be going inside. I am here to make sure the other guests arrive on time. I was confused. Other guests? What other guests? Seraphina smiled, but it wasn't a nice smile. Your Uncle David has partners, Ruby. People he is also stealing from. They just don't know it yet. Mr. Thorne has been making some interesting calls. He handed me a new phone, not my old one. When you go inside, find a quiet place. Turn this on. It will live stream video directly to me. I need to see their faces when I release the files. The files are uploading to a public server right now. The links are ready. I just need to press send. My stomach did a flip. But, Lily. Where is Lily? She won't be at the party. I was panicking again. I needed my daughter. I didn't care about the files or the money. I just wanted my baby. She won't be, Seraphina agreed, her voice hard. But her grandmother will be. And her father. And her uncle. And when we have them, they will tell us exactly where she is. You cannot get your daughter by being weak, Ruby. You get her by taking away everything they have. You have to hurt them worse than they are hurting you. She put her sunglasses back on. Are you ready? Or are you going to stay in this car and cry while they laugh at you? I looked at the big white building. I thought of Lily. I thought of Aunt Clara's smirk. I took a deep breath. I put the earpiece in my ear. I took the phone and held it tight. The fear was still there, a cold knot in my stomach. But now something else was next to it. 'Twas ice. 'Twas rage. I'm ready, I said. Good, Seraphina said. Now walk in there. But don't walk like you. Walk like me. The valet opened her door. She got out, all power and cold steel. I got out on my side. We stood at the bottom of the steps. The music got louder. And then I saw him. My ex-husband, Mark. He was standing at the top of the stairs, laughing, holding a glass of champagne. He hadn't seen us. Not yet. Mark's laugh was like a bell. A loud, ugly bell that meant he had won. It was the same laugh he used when he told me my baking business was a cute little hobby, but not a real job. He saw us, and the laugh choked in his throat. His face, which I used to think was so handsome, turned ugly. It twisted with confusion, and then with pure, hot anger. He couldn't understand. I was supposed to be a sad, wet mouse crying on a curb. I was not supposed to be here, walking up his steps, wearing new clothes, with a woman who looked like a queen. He started walking toward us, his face turning a dark, blotchy red. "Ruby," he yelled. His voice was a command. The old me, the me from yesterday, would have flinched. I would have looked at the ground and whispered, "I'm sorry." But Seraphina's hand was on my arm. Her grip was like a steel bracelet. "Do not look at him," she whispered. "Look through him. He is nothing. He is a bug." We reached the top step. He stood right in front of us, blocking the door. He tried to grab my arm. "What are you doing here? You're not allowed here." "Get your hand off her," Seraphina said. Her voice was not loud, but it cut through the party music. It was so cold and so sharp that Mark actually pulled his hand back like he'd been burned. He looked at Seraphina. "Who the hell are you?" he sneered. "I'm her lawyer," Seraphina lied, smooth as glass. "And you, Mark, will be hearing from me. Now step aside." She pushed right past him, pulling me with her. My heart was a bird trapped in my chest, beating its wings so fast I thought I would be sick. We were inside. Just as we passed him, I heard the click in my ear. "Ruby," Mr. Thorne's voice said. It was so sudden it made me jump. "I see him. He is furious. This is good. I need you to find a quiet place. The ladies' room. Go now. I need you to turn on the camera on your phone. Prop it up. I need to see their faces." I saw the sign for the restrooms down a short hall. "Seraphina," I whispered, I have to." She knew. "Oh. I will find our hosts." I slipped away. Mark yelled my name again. "Ruby. You can't just walk away." But I kept going. I locked myself in a stall. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. I fumbled with the new phone Seraphina had given me. I opened the camera app. It was already set up. I just had to press one button. "It's on," I whispered. Can you hear me?" "Loud and clear," Mr. Thorne's voice said in my ear. "And I have a perfect video feed. Now walk back out there. Go stand next to Seraphina. And do not, under any circumstances, look scared. Your other guests are 5 minutes away." Other guests. My stomach twisted. What was he planning? I walked out of the hall. The main ballroom was full. Everyone was laughing, holding glasses of champagne. And there, in the middle of it all, was Aunt Clara. She was wearing a sparkling silver dress and a smile that looked like it was made of sugar and glass. She was talking to Mark, who was pointing at me. When she saw me, her smile didn't just fade. Broke. Her face turned to stone. She looked at me with so much hatred that I felt my knees get weak. She marched right over to me. Seraphina stepped in front of me like a shield. "Ruby," Aunt Clara hissed. Her voice was low and dangerous. "I gave you a simple choice. You were told what to do. You were told to apologize. And you come here. To my party. Dressed like that. She looked at Seraphina. And who is this? Another one of your trashy friends. I am here for my daughter Clara, I said. My voice was small but I said it. Where is Lily? And Clara laughed a high, cold sound. Your daughter is safe. She is far away from your craziness. You will see her when you sign the papers. When you apologize to Mark for the lies you told. Now get out. No, Seraphina said. Clara turned to her. What did you say? She said no, Seraphina said, taking a step forward. And you, Clara, are a kidnapper. And Clara gasped. People nearby stopped talking. They were starting to listen. How dare you? Clara shrieked. Get out of my club. Security. Two big men in suits started walking toward us. Mr. Thorne, Seraphina said, her voice calm. Are they here? They are walking up the main drive right now, Mrs. Sterling. Thorne's voice whispered in my ear. And they are very, very angry. Security. Clara yelled again, her face red. Remove these women. But before the guards could reach us, the giant double doors of the country club flew open. They banged against the walls. The music stopped. Everyone turned to look. It wasn't more rich guests. It was three men. They were not in fancy suits. They were in dirty work clothes. One man, old and with a gray beard, was holding his hat in his hands. He looked lost. The man next to him, who looked like his son, was angry. We're looking for David Carrington, he yelled. The whole room was silent. You could hear a pin drop. Aunt Clara looked like she was going to faint. Her husband, Uncle David, the man who was getting the Family Business of the Year award, stepped forward. I'm David Carrington. What is the meaning of this? This is a private party. The old man stepped past his son. His voice was shaking but it was loud. Mr. Carrington. My name is George. I worked at the old paper mill for 41 years. You bought our pension fund. You promised us. And now, it's gone. It's all gone. My wife is sick. I have nothing. Aunt Clara grabbed her husband's arm. David, what is this nonsense? Get these filthy men out of here. It's not nonsense. Seraphina's voice boomed across the room. She was standing on the little stage, next to the microphone. Mr. Thorne, now. My earpiece clicked. Sending, he said. At that exact second, every single phone in that room lit up. A loud bing sound from every purse, every pocket. Mass text message. I watched as Aunt Clara pulled out her phone. She looked at it. She saw the link. She saw the title. The Carrington-Family Fraud, the full ledger. Her face. It didn't just go pale. Turn green. She looked up at Seraphina, her eyes wide with pure terror. What did you do? She whispered. Seraphina smiled into the microphone. I gave them the truth. Now let's talk about where you're hiding Lily. The sound of 100 cell phones was like a swarm of angry bees. A single bing all at once. And then silence. A terrible, heavy silence as every rich, important person in that room stopped laughing. They stopped drinking champagne. They looked down at their screens. I watched them. I watched their faces change. I saw confusion, then shock, then a dawning horror. They were all reading the title. The Carrington-Family Fraud, the full ledger. They were seeing the proof. The whispers started. Is this real? My God, it's the Mill Workers' Fund. David. Aunt Clara's hand, holding her phone, was shaking so hard she looked like she had a fever. Uncle David was a man who loved to be in control. He puffed up his chest, his face turning a dark wine red. This is a lie, he boomed, his voice trying to sound strong. This is slander. This is a sick, twisted prank by a woman who is mentally unwell. He pointed a shaking finger right at me. My nephew's ex-wife. She's angry about the divorce. She's crazy. He tried to laugh but it sounded like a cough. Security. Get her out of here. Get this trash out of my party. The two guards started moving toward us again. I felt my stomach drop. What if they believed him? Crazy. Seraphina's voice was like a whip. She stood on the stage, as calm as a statue. Does this look crazy? She tapped her own phone. Behind her, the giant TV screen that was supposed to be playing a slideshow of family memories flickered, changed. A new image popped up. It was a bank statement, a wire transfer. A huge amount of money moving from the Oak Valley Mill Pension Fund to a company I'd never heard of, Apex Holdings. Then another image. A transfer from Apex Holdings to a new account. The name on the account made me gasp. It was Mark's. My ex-husband. Mark made a small, choking sound like he'd been punched. That's fake. It's photoshopped, he stammered. But his eyes, his guilty rat-like eyes, they weren't looking at the screen. They were looking at the exit. He was trapped. George, the old mill worker with the gray beard, stared at the screen. His whole body was shaking. That's it, he whispered, but his voice was full of pain. That's our money. Our lives. You stole it. He covered his face with his hat and began to sob. A big, strong man crying in front of everyone. That was the moment the party truly died. The sound of that old man's tears cut through every lie. The crowd wasn't just whispering anymore. They were angry. "David, what is this?" one man yelled. "My mother's nursing home money was in that fund. You told me that land was worthless," another woman shouted, pointing at her own phone. "The file says you bought it a week later." The room was turning on them. Their friends, their neighbors. They were all seeing how they had been fooled. They were all victims. Seraphina let the noise swell like a dark wave. She let David and Clara feel the eyes of their friends turn from respect to pure disgust. Then she raised her hand. The room slowly went quiet. "I am not here for the money," she said, her voice clear and cold. "Though my lawyer, Mr. Thorne, is already on the phone with the state attorney general. This party is now a crime scene. No one is leaving." A new wave of gasp. The guards stopped. They looked at David, then at Seraphina, totally lost. "I am here," Seraphina said, "for a 10-year-old girl named Lily." She pointed right at Aunt Clara. Just as she said it, I heard a click in my ear. "Ruby," Mr. Thorne's voice whispered. "The other guests are here. The real owners of Apex Holdings. Tell Seraphina." My blood ran cold. Real owners. I looked at Seraphina and nodded my head, just a tiny bit. "You saw me." "Clara," Seraphina said, her voice dropping. "You thought you and your husband were so smart. You thought you were in charge. You're not. You're just the small-town help. The real owners of Apex Holdings, the people you've been stealing with. They are here. And they are very, very angry that you got caught. That broke them." David looked at Clara. His face white with confusion. "What is she talking about?" Clara looked like she was going to be sick. But Mark knew. He knew who she meant. He looked at the main doors, and his face was pure animal terror. He wasn't a man anymore. He was a cornered rat. He shoved a waiter, sending a tray of glasses crashing to the floor. "Mark, no!" Clara screamed. But he was running. He bolted for a side exit, pushing people out of his way. "He's going for Lily," I screamed. "He'll take her." I started to run after him, my heart exploding in my chest. "Ruby, stop," Seraphina commanded. "But he'll get away." "He can't," she said, a small, cold smile on her face. "Mr. Thorne." In my ear I heard only one word. "Detained." The side door flew open, and Mark was thrown back into the room. He landed hard on the fancy carpet. Two huge men in dark suits, men who definitely did not work for the country club, stood in the doorway. Mr. Thorne walked in right behind them, holding his sleek briefcase. "Mark Dash," he said, "you're not going anywhere." The room was completely silent. Mark was sobbing on the floor. David was frozen. And Aunt Clara. She was shaking, her face a crumpled mask of terror. Seraphina walked off the stage. She walked right up to Aunt Clara until they were inches apart. "I am done playing," Seraphina whispered, but the microphone on the stage was still on, and it carried her voice to every corner of the room. "My lawyer has a second file. File just for you, Clara. A file about your mother's nursing home. File about lost will." And Clara made a sound. It was not a word. It was a high, thin wail. The fraud was bad. But this was a secret she thought was buried forever. She was broken. "Where?" "Daughter," I yelled, my voice finally strong. Clara's eyes, wide with terror, met mine. She's. She stammered, looking at David, but he was useless. "She's at the old fishing cabin. On the lake. By the highway." "Is she alone?" Seraphina demanded. Clara was crying now, mascara running down her face. "No. I left someone to watch her. My cousin, Barry. I just told him to scare her. To keep her quiet until you apologized. You can't just go. He's not nice. He's not stable. He's not stable." The two words from Aunt Clara's mouth were like a match. My mind didn't just see pictures. I saw my daughter. I saw Lily alone in the dark with a man who was not nice. The party disappeared. The money, the angry faces, the files on the phones. It all turned to smoke. Meant nothing. There was only one thing in the world. "Lily, what did you do?" I whispered, my voice so low I could barely hear it. Aunt Clara was a mess, her silver dress ruined by her tears. "I just told him to keep her quiet. I just wanted you to apologize, Ruby. I gave him money. I didn't think. Moved. I don't remember deciding to. My body just went. I lunged at her, my hands like claws. I wanted to shake her until her teeth rattled. "Where is she?" I screamed. One of Mr. Thorne's huge guards caught me around the waist. He lifted me off the ground as I kicked. Seraphina didn't even flinch. She just looked at Mr. Thorne. "Call the state police. Tell them we have a hostage situation and a minor at extreme risk. Tell them the local department is compromised. I want a helicopter. Now." He turned to me. The guard put me down. "Ruby, we are leaving." We ran. We didn't walk. We ran out of that country club. We left them all standing there in the middle of their ruined party. We left them to Mr. Thorne and the angry mill workers. We left Mark handcuffed on the floor and Clara, who was now being held by the other guard. We piled back into the black car. The driver, who had been waiting patiently, didn't even ask where. He just hit the gas. The tires screamed on the perfect pavement of the country club. We were thrown back against the soft leather seats. The safety of the city disappeared behind us. "How far?" I was gasping, my chest tight. "How far is the lake?" 20 minutes, Seraphina said. She was texting, her thumbs a blur. Maybe less. The car was moving so fast. Trees were just green streaks outside the window. You said helicopter." "Yes." "It's too slow," she said, not looking up from her phone. "I am just making sure the police know who we are. And who they are." I didn't understand. But then her phone rang. She answered it. Yes. I am the one who sent the files. Now listen to me. Your boss, the police chief. He plays golf with David Carrington. Tell him if he sends one car before the state police arrive, I will release the other file. The one about him. My God. She was threatening the police chief. She wasn't asking for help. She was telling them what to do. She hung up. She was a general. This was a war. I looked out the window. The nice houses were gone. We were on a dark highway. There were no streetlights. Just the bright, cutting headlights of our car, eating up the black road. My mind kept seeing Lily's face. Was she crying? Was she asking for me? "Please," I whispered, my hands clenched into fists. "Please, God, let her be okay." I remembered him. Cousin Barry. It was a flash of a memory from a family barbecue 2 summers ago. He was in the backyard, away from everyone else. He was throwing a knife at a tree over and over. Bunk, bunk, bunk. He had dead eyes. Eyes that didn't smile, even when his mouth did. Mark had grabbed my arm and pulled me away. "Don't go near him," Mark had laughed. "He's the family psycho. Aunt Clara just gives him money to stay out at the old cabin and not bother anyone." They all knew. They all knew what he was, and they still let him take my daughter. My earpiece, which I had forgotten about, crackled. "Ruby," Mr. Thorne's voice said. He sounded rushed. "Clara is spilling everything. She's terrified. Barry Klein. He has a record. Salt. He was in a state hospital. He's not just not nice, Ruby. He's dangerous. Clara sent him a text an hour ago, telling him you were making trouble. She told him to scare you off. She sent him more money. He's unstable and he just got paid." My blood ran cold. He wasn't just watching her. He was waiting. He was waiting for me. The car swerved. It turned hard onto a road that wasn't a road. It was just mud and gravel. Tree branches scraped against the windows, making a sound like fingernails on glass. It was pitch black. The driver slowed down. The car bounced and rocked. "We're close," Seraphina said. "Driver, cut the lights." The man did. We were plunged into total terrifying darkness. My heart was in my throat. I couldn't see anything, but I could feel it. The evil of this place. The driver stopped the car. What do we do?" I whispered. I couldn't hear anything outside. No music, no yelling, no dogs, just silence. And the silence was worse than any noise. "We wait," Seraphina whispered back. "We listen." She turned to the driver. He was a big, silent man. "You stay with the car. Keep the engine warm. If you hear a scream, you call the police. If we are not back in 10 minutes, you drive this car through the front wall of that cabin. Do you understand?" The driver just nodded. He looked at me, and in his eyes I saw pity. We got out. The car doors closed with a soft, heavy thud. The air was cold and smelled like wet dirt and pine. My feet were silent on the damp leaves. We moved through the trees. And then I saw it. Small dark shape. Cabin. There was one light on inside. Sick flickering yellow light. It looked like a single, evil eye watching us. My baby was in there. I grabbed the door handle of my own car. No, I was out of the car. I started to run. "Lily!" I wanted to scream. Seraphina's hand shot out and grabbed my arm. Her fingers dug into my skin. "No!" she hissed, her voice like a snake. "You run, he hears you. He has a hostage, Ruby. You're not a mother right now. You are a soldier. We go quiet. We look. Then we act." She was right. I was shaking. I was useless. I can't. "Yes, you can," she said. "Now follow me. And do not make a sound." We crept forward from tree to tree. We got to the side of the cabin. The one with the dirty window. I could hear a sound now. A low humming sound. A man's voice. I held my breath. I slowly raised my head. I looked in. Lily. She was there. She was tied to an old wooden chair with a thick rope. Her mouth was covered with silver duct tape. Her eyes were huge and full of tears. And Cousin Barry. He was standing right in front of her. He was holding a red can. Gasoline can. And he was pouring it on the floor in a circle. All around my daughter. My blood turned to ice. It didn't just run cold, it stopped. My heart, my lungs, my brain, everything just stopped. I was a statue. I was a ghost. All I could see was the dark, wet circle he was making on the old wooden floor. All I could smell was the sharp, sick smell of gasoline. It was everywhere. Lily was not moving. She was just a pair of huge, dark eyes, staring at the man who was humming. He was humming a children's song. It was the song I used to sing to her. "Twinkle, twinkle, my baby." He was using my song while he was trapping my baby. I was going to scream. I felt the sound building in my chest. It was a roar. It was the sound of a mother who was about to watch her world end. I was going to run through that window. I was going to tear that cabin apart with my bare hands. I didn't care about the gas. I didn't care about him. I was going to get my daughter. But before the sound could come out, a hand clamped over my mouth. It was Seraphina. Her grip was like a steel trap. Hurt. Her other hand grabbed the back of my head, holding me still. Her eyes were 1 inch from mine. They were not angry. They were not scared. They were cold. They were the eyes of a surgeon or a general. "You make one sound," she whispered, her voice so low it was just a puff of air. "And he lights that match. He is waiting for you to scream. He is waiting for you to be stupid. Do not be stupid, Ruby." She was right. This was a trap. This whole thing was a sick, twisted trap for me. He was using my daughter as bait. My rage didn't go away. Just changed. It turned from hot fire to cold, sharp ice. He nodded. She slowly, very slowly, took her hand away from my mouth. I didn't scream. I just breathed. "He has a lighter," I whispered, my voice shaking. "I saw him. He's playing with it." I looked back through the window. Barry had finished the circle. He stood up and put the red can down right by the front door. He pulled a silver Zippo lighter from his pocket. Blick. Flame jumped up. He looked at Lily. "Your mommy is a bad person," he said. His voice was thick and slow. "Aunt Clara said so. She said Ruby needs to learn a lesson." Lily shook her head fast. A small, muffled "age" came from behind the tape. "Oh yes," Barry said, smiling. It was a terrible smile. "She needs to learn. And I'm the teacher." He was getting excited. His eyes were wide and shiny. He was lost in his own sick world. "He's not just following orders," I whispered to Seraphina. "He's enjoying this. He's crazy." Seraphina didn't look at Barry. She looked at the cabin. She was studying it. "Where is the back door?" she whispered. I don't know," I said. "It's just an old fishing cabin." "It doesn't matter," she said. She was all business. "He is waiting for you to come in the front." He put the gas can by the front door. "He is watching the front door." She pointed to the dark woods behind the cabin. "I am going around. I'm going to find a window. I'm going to make a sound. A very, very loud sound." She looked back at me, her face hard. "He will go to the back to see what it is. He will be confused. The second he is distracted, you go in the front door." "But the gas," I stammered. "What if he—" "You have to be fast, Ruby. You run in. You do not untie her. You pick up the whole chair. You run out. You run to the car. You do not stop for me. You do not look back. Do you understand?" My heart was pounding. "What about you? What if he—" "I am not your problem," she said. "Your daughter is. Go get her." She squeezed my shoulder, her fingers digging into my muscle. "Wait for my signal. Be ready." And then, just like that, she was gone. She disappeared into the darkness like a shadow. I was alone again. I was staring at my daughter. I was staring at the monster. I crept to the corner of the cabin right by the front porch. Could see the door. Could see the gas can. Could see Barry. He was getting bored. He was getting angry. Blick, blick. The lighter. "Where is she?" he mumbled to himself. "Stupid, stupid. Clara said she would come." He looked at Lily. "This is your fault," he said. "You're just like her." He took a step toward Lily, raising the lighter. "No," I whispered. "No, no, no. Seraphina, please hurry." Crash. It was the loudest sound I had ever heard. It wasn't a rock. It sounded like a car had just smashed into the back wall of the cabin. The whole building shook. Plate fell off a shelf inside. Barry screamed. It was a high, thin sound. He dropped the lighter. It fell to the floor next to his foot. And it was still lit. The flame was dancing on the old wooden floor. "What was that?" he shrieked. He looked at Lily, then at the back of the cabin. He was scared. He had lost control. He didn't see the lighter. He didn't see the flame, just inches from the dark ring of gasoline. He grabbed a fireplace poker. "Who's there?" he yelled. He started walking toward the back room, away from Lily, away from the front door. This was it. This was my chance. I put my foot on the first step of the porch. I was ready to run. But I couldn't take my eyes off the tiny, dancing flame. And as I watched, in slow motion, the lighter rolled. It was just a tiny movement. It rolled 1 inch, and the little flame touched the dark, wet line. Thum. The circle exploded. A wall of blue and orange fire shot up, a perfect ring, all around my daughter. No! The scream I had been holding back tore out of my throat. It wasn't a word. It was the sound of my soul ripping in half. The fire wasn't a little flame anymore. It was a wall. A hungry, roaring orange and blue wall of heat. And my daughter was in the middle of it. Lily's eyes. I will see those eyes in my nightmares forever. They were wide with a terror so deep it had no sound. She was trapped. She was going to burn. And I was just standing here watching. But the FWM of the fire had happened at the same moment as the crash from the back. Barry the monster spun around. He was a cornered animal. His eyes were wide and crazy. He saw the fire. He saw my face at the window. He heard a scream from the back room. But it wasn't his scream. It was Seraphina's. "Get her, Ruby. Now." She wasn't outside. She was inside. The crash. It wasn't a rock. It was her. She had broken her way into the back of the cabin. She was in there with him. That sound, her voice, it broke my fear. I didn't think. Just moved. The front door was blocked by the burning gas can. It was too late. I looked at the window I was peering through. It was my only way in. I didn't roll up my sleeve. I just pulled my arm back and smashed my fist through the glass. The pane shattered. I didn't feel the sharp edges slice into my skin. I didn't feel the blood. I just hooked my arms over the broken frame and pulled myself through. I landed hard on the floor, the smell of gasoline and burning wood filling my lungs. The heat was a living thing. It was a dragon breathing on my face, my arms, my hair. The smoke was thick and black. I couldn't breathe. I was coughing, my eyes burning. But I was inside the circle. With my daughter. "Mommy," she tried to scream, but the tape muffled it into a small, terrible sound. "I'm here, baby. I'm here." I grabbed the duct tape on her mouth and pulled. It ripped off, taking a layer of her skin with it. She screamed, a real scream, full of pain and relief. "Mommy, it burns." "I know, baby, I know." I fumbled with the ropes on her wrists. They were thick. They were wet with the gasoline. My hands were shaking too hard. I couldn't get the knot. "No time." I heard Seraphina yell. "Ruby. Chair. Now." I looked up. Barry was coming. He was running from the back hall, his eyes fixed on me. He still had the heavy, black fireplace poker. "You," he shrieked, his face a mask of hate. "You ruined it. You ruined everything." He was running right at me. He was going to hit me. He was going to kill us both. I couldn't get her free. I grabbed the back of the heavy wooden chair. "Hold on, Lily," he yelled. Pulled. I tried to lift her, but she was tied to it. I had to lift everything. "Get back," a voice screamed. It was Seraphina. She burst out of the hallway. Her expensive suit was torn. Her face was black with soot. She was holding a heavy, old-fashioned lamp. She didn't throw it at him. She threw it at the floor, right in his path. It smashed, and a new pile of burning oil and fabric exploded, creating a second wall of fire between us and him. Barry screamed and jumped back, shielding his face. That was our chance. "Go!" Seraphina yelled, shoving me toward the front door. "I'm right behind you." I grabbed the chair. I put all my strength, all my fear, all my love into one single moment. I lifted my daughter. The chair came with her. It was so heavy. My arms were on fire. My back felt like it was breaking. But I ran. I ran through the smoke. I ran past the burning gas can, which was hissing like a snake. I ran toward the dark rectangle of the open front door. I burst out onto the wooden porch. The cold night air hit my burning face. It was the best feeling in the world. I was out. Lily was out. We were safe. I almost fell down the steps, but I kept my feet. I ran onto the wet dirt. "Keep going!" Seraphina screamed. She was right behind me, pushing me. "To the car! Don't stop!" I could hear Barry yelling from inside the cabin. He was trapped. The cabin was an inferno. He was going to burn. A dark, ugly part of me was glad. We ran into the darkness, toward the dark shape of Seraphina's car. We were almost there. I could see the driver. He had the door open. 10 more feet. And then I heard a sound. It wasn't Barry. It wasn't the fire. It was a sound that didn't belong in the woods. It was a loud, sharp, metallic click. Came from the trees near the car. "Seraphina," I whispered. She must have heard it too. Her eyes went wide. "Get down," she screamed. She didn't just tell me. She did it. She threw her entire body at me and Lily. We all crashed to the ground in a heap of tangled arms and legs, just as a loud bang ripped through the night. A gunshot. Someone was shooting at us. The ground was cold and wet. My arm was on fire. Not from the bullet. The bullet had missed. My arm was screaming from the glass I had punched. I could feel warm, sticky blood running down my fingers, mixing with the damp leaves. "Lily!" I gasped, my voice a dry whisper. "Mommy! I'm scared," she cried. Her small voice was muffled. I was lying on top of her, and Seraphina was lying on top of me. We were a human shield. Seraphina was so heavy. Are you hit?" I asked her. "I'm fine," she grunted. She was breathing hard. Another bang. Loud poise sound. It wasn't at us. It was at the car. The big black safe car. The windshield exploded into a million tiny diamonds. The driver. He had been sitting up watching us. Now he just slumped over the steering wheel. He didn't move. Or escape. Or way home. It was gone. We were trapped in the dark woods, with a burning cabin on one side and a man with a gun on the other. My heart, which had been racing, felt like it just stopped. This was it. We were going to die here. "I was hoping you'd burn." Voice. It was not Barry's crazy yell. It was cold, calm, and worst of all, I knew it. A man stepped out from behind a giant pine tree. He was wearing a nice wool coat, like he had just left the party early. He was holding a long, black hunting rifle, and he was pointing it right at us. It was my father-in-law, Mr. Dash, Mark's father. The man who was supposed to be the victim. The man whose retirement money was stolen. My mind just broke. Could not understand what I was seeing. "You," I whispered. It was the only word I could say. "But they stole from you. Your retirement." He laughed. It was a dry, ugly sound like dead leaves. "You stupid girl. You really are just a baker. You think my son had the brains to plan any of this? He was a greedy fool. He was my errand boy. He did what I told him to do." I stared at him. The quiet, sad old man who just wanted to play golf and watch his son succeed. It was all a lie. Show. He wasn't the victim. He was the king. He was the one. Not David. Not Mark. He was the head of the snake. He had been stealing from those people, his friends at the country club, his workers at the mill, for 30 years. The pension fund was just a small piece. He was the one who told them to take Lily. He was the one who wanted me to apologize. He wanted me to be a quiet, broken little mouse so he could keep his perfect life. "Mark was loud," he said, walking closer. "He and David. They got sloppy. But you, Ruby. You just couldn't let it go. And you," he said, looking at Seraphina. He pointed the gun at her. "You had to bring your New York money. Your New York lawyers. You weren't supposed to find the other accounts. The ones in the islands. The ones that matter. That was it. That was the open loop. Seraphina's files. They hadn't just found the town fraud. They had found his real money. The millions. You weren't just going to ruin my son, he said, his voice dropping. You were going to ruin me. He took another step closer. The burning cabin behind him was an orange monster, roaring into the night. The light of the fire danced on his face. His eyes were not angry. They were empty. They were the eyes of a man who was just cleaning up a mess. I can't let that happen, he said. Barry was a mistake. Too much noise. He was always a stupid, crazy boy. This is cleaner. He was going to kill us. He was going to shoot us and leave us here. He would blame it all on Barry. He would be the sad old man whose son and granddaughter died in a terrible fire. Mommy, please. The ropes hurt. Lily cried. I was still on the ground, my body covering hers. I tried to reach her wrists to untie the knots. My fingers were bloody and shaking. Couldn't do it. Please, I begged him, looking up at the monster who was my father-in-law. Let her go. She's just a child. She won't say anything. You can have me. Just let her go. It doesn't work that way, Ruby, he said like he was teaching me a lesson. No witnesses. Sad. But it's final. It's over. Seraphina's voice was different. It was shaking. For the first time she was scared. You hear that? Faintly in the distance I heard it. Thin high sound. Woo-woo. Sirens. Police. The real police. The state police. They're coming for you, Seraphina said, trying to sound strong. It's too late. No, he said, raising the rifle to his shoulder. I still have time. They'll just find a terrible accident. Crazy cousin. Fire. And 3 sad bodies. He pointed the gun. Not at me. Not at Lily. He pointed it right at Seraphina. You were the real problem, he said to her. You were the one who had to be a shark. My heart stopped. He was going to kill her first. I had to do something. I looked at Lily tied to the chair. I looked at Seraphina. I couldn't save both. His finger tightened on the trigger. He was going to shoot. But just as he did, I heard a groan. It was from the car. The driver's door creaked open. The driver. He wasn't dead. He was hurt. He fell out, rolling onto the wet ground. And in his hand, he had a small black gun. It all happened in 1 second. A second that lasted forever. Mr. Dash, the man I called Dad at my wedding, swung his huge rifle toward the driver. You were supposed to be dead, he screamed. He was losing it. The sirens were screaming, red and blue lights flashing through the trees, painting his face in a mask of red and blue. He was a planner, not a fighter. He was out of time. Marcus! Seraphina yelled, and it wasn't a scream of fear. It was a command. The driver. His name was Marcus. She knew him. He wasn't just a driver. Mr. Dash made his choice. He turned his rifle back to Seraphina. She was the one who ruined him. I'll take you with me, he roared. Bang! His rifle shot was so loud it felt like it shook the trees. But in that exact same instant, a smaller, sharper crack came from Marcus on the ground. It was all in slow motion. Seraphina stood perfectly still. She didn't even blink. Mr. Dash looked down. A small, dark red circle was growing on his expensive wool coat. He looked confused. But, my plan, he whispered. He dropped the rifle. It clattered on the wet rocks. He looked at me, his eyes wide. But the evil was gone. There was nothing left. He was just a sad, empty old man. He fell to his knees. Then he just fell over, flat on his face in the mud. He didn't move again. It was over. The head of the snake was cut off. The woods were suddenly, terribly quiet. All I could hear was the crackle of the fire, the sound of the sirens, and my own heart beating again. Lump, lump, lump. I didn't wait. I didn't watch him. I scrambled on my hands and knees to Lily. My bloody fingers, which were so clumsy and useless before, were now perfect. The knot was thick and wet, but my hands were a blur. I pulled it, and the rope fell away. I ripped her from the chair. She was so light. I pulled her into my chest. She wrapped her little arms and legs around my waist and buried her face in my neck, holding on so tight it hurt. "I got you," I whispered, my own tears washing the soot and blood from my face. "I got you, baby. It's over. Mommy's here." Police cars slid to a stop on the mud. Doors flew open. Men with bright flashlights were yelling, "Get on the ground. Show me your hands." Marcus was already on his knees, his gun on the ground, his hands in the air. "She's the victim," he yelled, pointing at me. "She's the mother. The girl is safe." Seraphina stood up. She just brushed the dirt from her torn suit. I couldn't stand. My legs were like water. I just sat in the cold mud, holding my whole world, and I rocked her back and forth. I was crying, but for the first time in so long they were not tears of fear. The court case was fast. Mr. Thorne's files were a perfect, unshakable mountain of proof. With Mr. Dash gone, Aunt Clara and Mark turned on each other, like the rats they were. They told on each other, trying to save themselves. Didn't work. They both went to jail for a very, very long time. They will never see the sun as free people again. All the money they stole. Seraphina's lawyers found it. Every last penny. The mill workers got their retirement back. The whole town, all the people they had tricked, they all got their money back. We didn't stay there. I couldn't look at those houses or those streets ever again. I sold my old house. I sold everything. My dad, he came to me. He held me and he cried. He said he was so sorry he didn't see the monsters in his own family. He and Seraphina. They are good together. He finally has someone strong to lean on. And me. I live somewhere new now. Somewhere warm where you can smell the salt from the ocean. I live in a beautiful house in California. It's one of Seraphina's houses. She said it was too big anyway. I am sitting on a white balcony, and I can hear Lily laughing. She is in the backyard playing with a big golden dog. She is wearing a bright yellow dress. Her laughter is the most beautiful sound in the world. I'm not a part-time baker anymore. I'm starting my own company. Seraphina is my partner. Hand touches my shoulder. It's her. She's not wearing a sharp suit. She's wearing jeans and a soft sweater. She hands me a cup of coffee. "She sounds happy," Seraphina says. I look at this woman. My stepmother. The shark. The general. My savior. "It's because of you," I say. She looks at Lily, who is now rolling in the grass with her dog. For the first time I see Seraphina smile. A real smile. It's not cold. It's not sharp. It's like the sun coming out from behind a cloud. "No," she says. "It's because of you, Ruby. You were the one who was brave enough to fight." She puts her arm around me. And I lean my head on her shoulder. I am not cold anymore. My story. It's about betrayal and it's about revenge. But it's also about finding your voice. It's about finding out that you are stronger than you ever thought. There are so many monsters in this world. They count on us being quiet. They count on us being too scared to fight back. If you are watching this and you feel small, if you feel like you are trapped, please know that you are not. You have a fire inside you. Please don't let anyone put it out. If my story touched your heart, if it gave you even a little bit of hope, I am begging you, please like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. And please share this. Share this with anyone you know who needs to be reminded that they are a warrior. You are not alone. Your support. It's what holds people like me together in the dark. You are my family now. And I promise to always be here for you. Thank you for listening.